My first degree is in dietetics, so I'm a registered dietitian, and I originally worked in the NHS before moving into research, and then back into the NHS and back into academia. So I've sort of hopped backwards and forwards a few times.
Yeah.
My very early career, I'll go back a little bit because that's where the story starts really. My very early career, my real interest has always been food. Okay, I love to cook it, I love to eat it, and I love to share it, and that's always been my passion. But I also was interested in science and was inspired by a chemistry teacher at school to pursue science a bit more, and food was always very important to my family as well. So that took me into dietetics. But when I graduated and went into the NHS and working in big hospitals, I enjoyed working with patients. I really enjoyed working with patients because I love being with people. But I was frustrated by the fact that what we were doing was sort of mopping up the floor without turning off the tap. So we were dealing with people with the consequences of poor diet or lack of exercise, lack of physical activity. So rather than actually trying to prevent that, and that I found frustrating. So I suppose that made me start to look for other opportunities. And I took an opportunity for a one-year research post at Newcastle University, and was very fortunate to go to work with Professor Andrew Rugg-Gunn, who was Professor of Preventive Dentistry in Newcastle. I went for a year, and that ended up being my PhD. It sort of grew, and that was when I was bitten by the research bug. When I was studying, once I was doing my undergraduate degree, we did a research project as part of my undergraduate degree, and that I think was what initially thought, actually I quite like this, but I didn't really know where to start or how I might be able to get into that. And this one-year post in research that I saw advertised, and I thought, well, go for that. And it was particularly for a dietitian, and I was very fortunate that I was given that opportunity to put my toe in the water, see what it was like, and from that, that really it was the first step in my pathway to research career. So I think the biggest challenge in developing my research career came really quite early on. So having done my PhD, I went back to work in the health service, and then an opportunity arose again at Newcastle when the Human Nutrition Research Centre was established, and there was a lectureship post advertised, and I was lucky enough to be able to get that post. And what's been really exciting is being part of building what was, from very small beginnings, the Human Nutrition Research Centre at Newcastle as it is today. But the first part of that was really challenging because I had initially a 3-year contract, and then I had another 6-month contract, then a 2-year contract, and working on those short-term contracts, looking for funding opportunities, building in my own research, my own salary, and also those of my research team. So it became very challenging to build that research capacity, that research team. I applied for the Career Scientist Award, which is now the Senior Fellowship from the NIHR, and that gave me 5 years funding, which was fantastic for a number of reasons. The really exciting thing about it was that it gave external affirmation of what I was doing, which made people think, okay, perhaps, she's going somewhere, and took some notice. It gave me the opportunity to begin to focus, because until then I'd had to respond in order to to different research calls, but that gave me an opportunity to focus, and also, of course, was my salary and training opportunities through Ashridge in that period. So it allowed me to begin to develop leadership skills and so forth. So that opportunity was really very important, because the other thing was, of course, the university at the end of it had to sign up to give me a tenured post, which was fantastic and a great opportunity. My personal chair in 2010 gives a sort of seal of approval and stamp and accolade, not just for me, but for the area of public health nutrition in Newcastle, and for all of my team. And then gives you that opportunity to be able, it opens doors outside of the university. I've always tried very much to work outside of academia. I work with schools and local authorities and the health service, and work across, and I've always tried to work very collaboratively. But the title begins to open some doors. I would say don't give up. It's not easy. And particularly working on short-term contracts as an early career researcher can be really frustrating and can make you quite anxious. But don't give up. Look for opportunity, and whilst yes you want to focus, also don't start closing doors. Look for what opportunities are out there, and you never know where something may lead. So explore avenues, and the other thing I'd say is look for opportunities in terms of early career fellowships. That was something that I didn't do and perhaps could have done more of, but I think now there are many more early career fellowships available through NIHR, but also through other funders, and those early career fellowships are a really good start to get you going on that early career. The road's never been straight. I think I've taken quite a circuitous and wiggly route. The other thing that I would advise myself is to make sure that you look after yourself, and make sure that you look after yourself and think about family and all of the other things which go with life, because your work and your career is one part of it, but it's only worthwhile if you've got those people around you. I'm right at the beginning of my 5-year NIHR research professorship. So we're in July, and I started that in March, so that's a 5-year post. With that comes an immense privilege, and in terms of capacity building for my area of research and support for that. I feel the weight of that privilege, and for me it's about trying to make the best opportunity of that. Something that's really very important to me is thinking about life outside of work. I very much enjoy my job, and I very much value the people that I work with. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what challenges have been thrown at me. I go home to people who I love and who love me, and they're the most important thing. So my parents who have supported me throughout, my fantastic husband who's there, and my greatest achievement, who is my son, who's 14,